Revati from Atlanta, Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Revati Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining early morning and mid-morning, chanting so beautifully. Welcome to the call.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Prabhupada, all glories to Maharaj, all glories to somebody got it. This is Mohini Lakshmi from Detroit.
Hare Krishna, Mohini Lakshmi Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining every day. Welcome to the call.
Do you want to get started, Mataji? Who's doing introduction?
Balabhadra Prabhu is not there.
Mataji.
Okay. I don't know. So,
Even Prabhu speaker, Prabhuji is not here. Nand Dulal Prabhu is not here.
yeah, okay. Okay, we'll see how if someone else wanted to introduce themselves, they can introduce. Yeah.
Hare Krishna, Mataji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. This is Anita Ramya from Sharjah. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Anita Mataji, Dandavat Pranam, all glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Mataji, for joining and giving your recitation. Welcome to the call.
We'll start, Mataji. Prabhuji has joined.
Okay, Mataji. Hare Krishna, everyone. Welcome to Bhakti Sangha conference call. Today we are very fortunate to have Nand Dulal Prabhuji to enlighten us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please accept my humble obeisances. All glories to Srila Prabhupada. Thank you so much, Prabhu, for joining and giving your valuable time and association this morning and enlightening us on the topic of Srimad Bhagavatam. Today's verse is 7th canto, 1st chapter, 10th verse, Prabhuji. I now hand over the call to you, Prabhu. Please take over. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. So thank you so much. I am myself feeling grateful to be part of this group of devotees who regularly every day come together, chant japa together, and discuss on the Srimad Bhagavatam together. Thank you for allowing me to be part of this group. I would just like to ask if how do we show the Srimad Bhagavatam shloka? Do I show it?
Yeah, yes, Prabhuji, if you can do it by yourself, it will be good. Yeah.
I will, yeah. Yeah, are you able to see the shloka?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Yes, Prabhuji, thank you so much.
Thank you. So we'll begin with our prayer. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya. So today we are discussing from Srimad Bhagavatam, Canto number 7, chapter 1st, and we are discussing shloka number 10 today. Yada sitrikshu puratmana paro raja srujatesha prithak swamayaya sattvam vichitra surisam surishvaraha shaishamanasya tamairasyasau. Yada sitrikshu puratmana paro raja srujatesha prithak swamayaya sattvam vichitra surisam surishvaraha shaishamanasamairatyasau. Yada sitrikshu puratmanah paro raja srujatesha prithak swamayaya sattvam vichitra surisam surishvaraha shaishamanasamairatyasau. Does anybody on the conference also chant this shloka?
Sure, Prabhuji, we can chant.
Yeah. Anybody would like to chant?
Yada sisrikshu pura atmana paro raja srijatya सृजत्येष पृथक् स्वमायया सत्वं विचित्रासु ईश्वरा सयिष्यमानस्तम ईरयत्यशु। हरे कृष्ण।
हरे कृष्णा। यदा सृष्टो पुर आत्मना परो रजसृजतेश पृथक् स्वमायया सत्वं विचित्रासुरीश्वरः शयिष्यमान् स्तमयत्यसौ। हरे कृष्ण।
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, you are muted, Prabhuji.
Sorry. Yeah, we'll go to the word-to-word translation and translation by His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Yada, when, Sisrikshu, desiring to create, Puraha, material bodies, Atmanaha, for the living entity, Paraha, the Supreme Personality of Godhead, Rajaha, the mode of passion, Srijati, manifest, Esha, he, Prithak, separately, predominantly, Swamayaya, by his own creative energy, Sattvam, the mode of goodness, Vichitrasu, in various types of bodies, Riramshu, desiring to act, Ishvaraha, the personality of Godhead, Shaishamanaha, being about to conclude, Tama, the mode of ignorance, Irayati, causes to rise, Asau, that supreme. Translation. When the Supreme Personality of Godhead creates different types of bodies, offering a particular body to each living entity, according to his character and fruitive actions, the Lord revives all the qualities of material nature, Sattva Gun, Rajo Gun, and Tamo Gun. Then as the Super Soul, he enters each body and influences the qualities of creation, maintenance, and annihilation, using Sattva Guna for maintenance, Rajo Guna for creation, and Tamo Guna for annihilation. Purport. Although material nature is conducted by the three qualities, Sattva Guna, Rajo Guna, and Tamo Guna, nature is not independent. As the Lord says in Bhagavad Gita 9.10, Maya Dhyakshena Prakritihi Tuyate Sa Characharam Hetu Nanena Kaunteya Jagat Viparivartate. This material nature is working under my direction, O son of Kunti, and it is producing all moving and non-moving beings. By its rule, this manifestation is created and annihilated again and again. The different changes in the material world take place as actions and reactions of the three gunas. But above the three gunas is their director, the Supreme Personality of Godhead. In the various types of bodies given to the living entities by material nature, Yantra Rudhani Maya, either Sattva Gun, Rajo Gun, or Tamo Gun is prominent. The body is produced by material nature according to the direction of the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Therefore, it is said here, Yada Sisrikshu Pura Atmana Paraha, indicating that the body is certainly created by the Lord. Karmana Daiva Netrena. According to the karma of the living entity, a body is prepared under the Supreme Lord's supervision. Whether the body is of Sattva Gun, Rajo Gun, or Tamo Gun, everything is done by the direction of the Supreme Lord through the agency of the external energy, Prithak Swamaya. In this way, in different types of bodies, the Lord, Ishvara, gives directions as Paramatma, and again, to destroy the body, he employs the Tamogun. This is the way the living entities receive different types of bodies. So, we'll begin our class by offering prayer. Om Ajnanatimirandasya Jnananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupaha Kadamayyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavam Cha Shri Rupam Sagrajata Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamcha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Deenabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya eva cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Namo Vishnu Padaya Krishna Preshthaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swami Niti Namine Namaste Saraswate Devi Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Shunyavadi Paschatya Deshatarine Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shrivasadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. So in today's shloka, the primary discussion, the primary point that we can see is that how actual reason behind the creation of the body, the maintenance of the body, the destruction of the body, although it appears that it is material nature, actually it is not material nature. The actual reason behind this is the Supreme Lord. And then from 7th chapter of the Gita, shloka number 10, Srila Prabhupada in the purport is quoting how actual reason even behind the creation of the universe. Suyate sa characharam. Actually, it is going on under the supervision, adhyakshena. So whether it is the complete universe or whether it is the individual bodies, actually the real karan, the real reason behind everything, as discussed in today's shloka, is the Supreme Lord. So Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami in the Chaitanya Charitamrita takes this point and he gives his own analogy. So he says, Krishna karta maya tara kare na sahai ghater karana chakra dandadi upay. The first analogy that Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami gives is, the potter makes a pot, earthen pot, and the earthen pot is definitely made on the potter's wheel. There is a huge wheel and there is a mud block kept there, and then that wheel is rotated with a stick. And when the wheel is rotated with a stick, then the shape is given. So the immediate current, the immediate cause, the nimitta karan can be said to be the potter's wheel and the stick that makes the potter's wheel go around. But actually somebody who is really very intelligent understands the potter's wheel won't move on its own. The stick won't run the wheel on its own. Both of these, although they are the immediate causes, but they need a potter. So he says, Krishna karta maya tara karena sahai. Sahai means assist. So the potter's wheel and the stick assist the potter in making the pot. Then next line he says, Ghatera nimitta hetu yaiche kumbhakar. Ghatera nimitta, ghata means the pot. Ghatera nimitta yaiche kumbhakar. Taiche jagatera karta purusha avatar. For the small pot, the immediate causes seem to be potter's wheel and a stick, but the real cause is the kumbhakar, the potter. Similarly, he says, if you look at the world around, the immediate cause seems to be material nature, but the real cause is Purusha avatar. Actually, it is Karano Dakshai Vishnu, the first Purusha avatar, from whose pores all the universes come, and then his gland falls on the dead matter and it is impregnated with all the living entities. Then he gives another analogy. So the first analogy is of the potter's wheel and the pot. Then he says, Ataeva Krishna Mula Jagat Karana Prakriti Karana Yaiche Ajagalastana. This is also an analogy that is appreciated by people who have seen India's villages. So sometimes what happens is the goat is walking and the goat's neck has some peculiar formations on it, and it sometimes looks like it is capable of giving milk. So Aja Gala. Aja means the goat, and the Gala of the Aja has Sana. It appears that there is some source of milk there. And this analogy is also given by Srila Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, that the nipples on the neck of the goat are just imaginary nipples. They cannot give any milk. There is no point in looking at them in hopes of getting milk. Similarly, it is mentioned, actually, when you look at material nature, it seems that she is producing everything, but the real source is Lord Sri Krishna. And then the third example given by Srila Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, he says, actually, iron is dead matter, but when iron is electrified, when there is electrification of the iron, then the iron becomes red hot. And although the iron does not have quality of being a hot metal, it can start a fire somewhere else. So because of the electrification of the iron, it assumes the property of fire. It assumes the property, and it can also become like fire. Similarly, he says, actually the dead matter does not have its own life. It is only when it is electrified by the glance of Mahavishnu that it becomes active. And then when we look around at the material nature around us, there are so many things happening. Parivartan is something that is always happening, and Krishna also describes Ashashvatam. This material world is Ashashvatam. But actually, you see, dead material world, just 2 or 3 days back, I was looking, somebody sent me photographs of a deserted city. Somewhere in Europe, there was a small war that happened, and one country attacked another country. And there was some Narako, there is some city called Narako, and that Narako city has been completely devastated, and it has become a ghost town, in the sense nobody is staying there. The chairs were there on the streets, and all the buildings and the homes were there, but all the people, because of the sudden attack by the enemy nation, they have just deserted the city. And this reporter was the only person who was going around taking video shots of the city. So that city, is it going to move? Are the chairs going to move? Are the trees there going to move? No, they are just still now. It was actually the presence of human beings that would have caused motion. So in one sense, this material world is Ashashvatam, especially because of the presence of the living entities there, and also because the effect of the prime living entity. The prime living entity is the Supreme Lord, and his will is actually changing the material world. That's why it is Ashashvatam. Otherwise, imagine a chair kept somewhere. It won't move on its own. So in that sense, for that limited amount of discussion, we could say that actually without the presence of living entities, either the Jivas or the Paramatma, actually it will be Shashvatam. But the material world is a Shashvatam only because of the presence of the glance of the Supreme Lord. There is a very beautiful shloka which I would like to show you. I just share that also. This is from the 3rd canto. So this is 3rd canto, chapter number 28, and this is discussion between Devahuti and Kapila Dev. So I'll quickly read the shloka and translate. Yatha putracha vittacha prithan martya pratiyate api atmatvena bhimatad deha de purushas tatha. So translation is, the discussion is going on how a person, if he is actually different from the soul, the body is different from the soul, how do we really understand it? And Kapil Rishi, Kapil Dev, is speaking to his mother and is giving this example. Translation. Because of great affection for family and wealth, one accepts a son and some money as his own, and Similarly, due to affection for the material body, one thinks that it is his. But actually, as one can understand that his family and wealth are different from him, the liberated soul can understand that he and his body are not the same. So the example that is given by Kapil Rishi here, he's saying, when things are going good, when the children are small, then every mother and father thinks, they are my children. And then all of us know when the children grow up, then slowly they start answering in a rude way. Sometimes they disobey. Sometimes they may act in a very unpredictable, in an insulting way sometimes. And slowly all of us are aware a point comes when they become really independent and when they really become grown up, then they might even, what to speak of being impudent and what to speak of being arrogant, actually they may even stop talking to their parents. They may be out of touch with their parents. One time, one mother, old mother, she went to a mobile phone shop and she said, I have this mobile phone. Can you please check if something is wrong with this mobile phone? And that person said, no, what is the issue? You tell me and I'll check it. Then this old woman said, see, I have come a long distance and please check if something is wrong in this mobile phone. So he didn't want to displease this old woman. So he checked that mobile phone and it seemed that everything is working fine. The ringer was working fine. The screen was working fine. The battery was working fine. So then he again came to this old woman and he said, madam, we checked the phone and then everything is working fine. But what exactly was your problem? Can you please tell us that? Then she said, I don't know why, but last 1 or 2 months it has not even rung. Nobody is calling me. So I thought maybe there is something wrong with my mobile phone. Maybe the ringer is not working fine. The SIM card is not working fine. So it seems that, because she's old now, in one sense, she's not of much use now. Old parents are not of much use sometimes, unfortunately. So as the children become young, they are out for the adventure of life, and they are trying to experiment with life, and they are trying to win fame and name and success as per their understanding. And in that whole thing, finding out time for their own parents sometimes becomes a challenge for some children. And it is that time that parents, they get hit by the reality that actually my whole life I was thinking they are my children. Yes, on paper they are my children, but actually they are independent jivatmas having their own will, having their own desires, having their own ambitions, and they want to fly in the sky on their own without taking care of the parents. Sometimes it's hard reality hits us, is it not? So then we realize, yes, I am calling them my children, but are they calling me their parents? Sometimes it will not work like that. Similarly, money also, if you see, when everything is going good, then we are very much attached to our money. It's my money, and my money should be taken care of, and this and that. And one day somebody can steal your money. So stealing your money, stealing your wallet, or stealing your purse does not make that much of an impact. But in front of your eyes, somebody cheats you and you can't do a thing. There is some forgery of some signature or forgery of some papers, and you know who's doing it, you know how he's doing it, but you can't prove it. And right in front of your eyes, your money, your property, your assets are transferred in somebody else's name. And then it hits you that money actually does not belong to anybody. It was never my money, it was money. And money in my possession became my money. Car is not my car, your car, his car, her car. Car is car. Till the time I use it, it is my car. As soon as I transfer it to somebody else, then that car becomes somebody else's car. My home is not my home. My home is a home. When I am staying there, it is my home. And when I change, it is somebody else's home, is it not? I know so many devotees who still remember their childhood home, and they still feel, oh, here I have memory. When I was a small child, I did that. But right now they're staying in a different home. So memories are there, but the home does not care. Similarly, in this shloka, 3.28.39, Kapil Rishi is telling his mother, similarly, when everything is going good, then we think this body is my body because this body is cooperating with us. If we tell our body, now I want to run, then the body runs. If you tell the body, now I want to eat this, although I have taken my lunch, then the body actually cooperates and the body actually eats and the body actually digests. But when you hit 45, 50, you tell your body, I want to run. Body says, sorry, but I cannot run. It is impossible for me to run. Or you just had your lunch and there is some favorite food stuff there and you tell your body, my dear body, I want to eat this. This is my favorite food stuff. And the body says, sorry, but I cannot eat this. And if you push it down the throat, I may not be able to digest it. And I am not sure what effect it will have on your stomach. And probably you'll have to lie down for some time. Is it not? So for some time when things are going good, when things, people, situations obey us, they don't disobey us. Till that time, we have this illusion that they belong to us. Similarly, so our body, till the time it obeys us, we think it is our body. But Kapil Rishi is telling, when things or people do not act as per our plan, then we understand they are not ours. They are what they are. Similarly, this body also, a wise man can understand this body is not mine. And in the purport, Srila Prabhupada mentions, such a wise man is called Pratibuddha. Pratibuddha person means this person, just with his discretion, just with his fine intelligence, can understand my body, my hands, my legs means I am not the body, I am not the hands, I am not the feet. One time, Srila Prabhupada, he was speaking in one program and he thundered. He spoke very strongly. You are not your body. And as soon as he spoke that, one person raised his hand. And yes, what question? He said, okay, I am not my body. So whose body am I? That person, he just could not understand the depth of that sentence. So he's feeling, I'm not my body. So I am somebody else's body. So he's asking, okay, whose body am I? And that is the time when Prabhupada understood the serious flaw in Western education, that right from inception, right from the early days, there's so much, it is so much being imbibed on every living entity that you are the body. Even if you are not your body, you are somebody else's body, but finally you are the body. One time, Jayadvaita Swami Maharaj, he was at New York Rath Yatra. And in that New York Rath Yatra, there was a question answering booth. And that question answer booth, two very fat ladies came there. And they said that we want to have some questions. And then Jayadvaita Maharaj explained that you are not the bodies. And when the truth dawned upon them, there was a huge smile on their face. And there was a huge, heavy sigh of relief, like that. And so Jayadvaita Maharaj understood, actually both of these ladies, probably they were sisters or they were friends, they had these huge fat bodies. And it was a difficulty for them to maintain that fat body and carry it around. So as soon as Jayadvaita Maharaj explained to them that you are not these bodies and you are separate from these bodies, they actually felt a sigh of relief. And they understood our existence is separate from this huge burden that we are carrying. Now just imagine the primary understanding that I am not this body, although it was very difficult for that man in Srila Prabhupada's Leela, but this primary understanding, just understanding intellectually that I am not this body, gave such a relief and gave such happiness to these two ladies in New York Rath Yatra. Can you imagine if these two ladies actually started living by that principle, that this body does not belong to me, I should take care of the body, but I should not get attached to the body. How much happy they will be and how much happy we all will be, is it not? So right from our early days, if we understand, actually nobody belongs to us. Actually, we don't control anybody. Yes, till the time they obey us, till the time they cooperate with us, we feel they are good people. But when they do not cooperate with us, we get angry, we get dejected, we get frustrated. Actually, whose mistake it is, whose fault it is? It is our fault, is it not? So similarly, it is very important for us to understand that Kapil Rishi is giving a very nice day-to-day example. Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur, when he's discussing on this example, he mentions somebody when he hears this example from Kapil Rishi might say Oh, it's very clear, it's very understandable. The father and the son are two separate things. So it's very understandable. This example is understandable. The son does not belong to the father. They are two different individuals. And you also spoke, oh Kapil Rishi, the example of money and the father. Yes, so the money is different object other than the father. So we can understand, the imagined relationship is false. Actually, there are three separate objects: the father, the son, and money. But the body and the soul, they are not two separate objects, at least visibly. It appears that it is the same person. So can you please help me to understand that? And for that, our Kapil Rishi, he gives the next shloka, he gives another example. We'll quickly go through that example. So in the next shloka, this is text number 40 of the same chapter. Yatholmukad vispulinga dhumad vapi swasambhavat api atmatvena bhimatad yathagni prithagul mukad. Translation. The blazing fire is different from the flame, from the sparks, and from the smoke, although all are intimately connected because they are born from the same blazing wood. And in this example, if you see, from one perspective, all the objects that are mentioned in this shloka are one. For example, the wood. The wood has caught fire, and although the wood is a different substance, but right now the wood is covered by fire. And initially, when the wood catches fire, there is smoke. So that smoke is also born from fire. And then after some time, when the smoke reduces, then there are sparks that are created from the fire, which is born in the wood. And those sparks are also fire. So in effect, the wood that is burning is also covered by fire. The smoke is also fire. The sparks are also fire. And in this way, that whole flame, that huge flame, is also fire. So Kapil Rishi gives this second example to counter the previous argument that it is easy to understand the father, the son, and the money are three different objects, but the body and the soul seem to be one. How do we really understand that they are not the same and they're different? So he's saying, he's comparing, the wood is dead matter. So the wood is compared to the pradhan. Pradhan means that part of Maya Shakti that gives the ingredients for making this material world. That is called pradhan, the raw material. From the pradhan comes a little bit of smoke when the fire starts. So the fire, the original fire, is compared to the Supreme Lord. And when the Supreme Lord, the fire, comes in touch with the pradhan, then the causal part of Maya Shakti. So Maya Shakti has two parts. One is the pradhan that supplies the ingredient, and then is the causal part, the creation part, that is called the Maya Shakti. So the pradhan is first touched by the vision of the Supreme Lord, as we mentioned in that electrifying example. Similarly here, the wood is dead matter, it is pradhan, and the smoke is created by the fire. So that smoke is basically prakriti. Prakriti means, again, the material manifestation. And then the same fire causes some sparks to come out. And those sparks are tiny little objects which are equal in quality to the huge fire. So the example that is given is, pradhan is also coming in one sense from the fire. The smoke is also coming from the fire. The sparks are also coming from the fire. And everything is fire only. So the Supreme Lord is compared to the big fire, and the smoke is also created because of the fire. The sparks are also created by the fire. But although everything is one in the ultimate sense, but the sparks are different from the flames, and the wood is different from the flame, and the smoke is different from the flame. And in this way, our Kapil Rishi in the third canto very analytically is giving this example how to understand the body is basically the smoke, and the jiva is basically the sparks that come out. And that's why the smoke and the sparks are different from each other, even though everything looks like one homogeneous fire. And this is another example that he gives. And after this example, this is towards the end of the chapter, Then Devahuti Mata, she thanks Kapil Rishi and she says, thank you so much for giving this example and I have understood very nicely. So these are two examples that we can understand. Now, how will we understand all this? Because it seems very difficult to understand. So Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya, at one point of time, he composed two shlokas glorifying Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. He wrote them on palm leaves. And he also brought some Mahaprasad for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And then he called Srila Jagadanand Pandit. And he handed over that Mahaprasad for Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu to Jagadanand Pandit. And he also gave those two palm leaves on which he had written two shlokas to Jagadanand Pandit. Now Jagadanand Pandit carried those two palm leaves and a Mahaprasad to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. But as he was going to enter the room of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, there was Mukunda Datta who was standing outside. And he said, wait. Give me those two palm leaves. He took those two palm leaves and whatever was written on those two palm leaves, he wrote on the wall of the room of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu because he knew what would happen. Sarvabhauma Bhattacharya had written glorification of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And anybody who would glorify Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, he would not like it. So most probably that palm leaf will be torn by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And this is exactly what happened. After Mukunda Datta wrote the shlokas on the wall of the room of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu outside, then those two palm leaves were given to Jagadanand Pandit. Jagadanand Pandit took those two palm leaves inside. Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu read those two shlokas glorifying him, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, without asking anybody, tore off those two palm leaves. But those two shlokas were preserved, and it is mentioned in Krishnadas Kaviraj Goswami, Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita, that all the devotees, when they would go to meet Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they would read those two shlokas written on the outside wall of the Gambhira, and in this way, they by-hearted those shlokas. So what was the first shloka? So it is mentioned, Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shiksharthameka Purusha Purana Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari Kripam Buddhistam Tamaham Prapadye. So the first line says, Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga Shiksharthameka Purusha Purana. The English translation is that same original person, Purusha Purana, the primeval person, Lord Krishna, has now appeared in the form of Shri Krishna Chaitanya Sharira Dhari. He has assumed the form of Lord Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And why has he come? Shikshartam Ekah Purusha Purana. This one person has come, or he's the same person, he has come to give some shiksha. He has come to give some teachings. What are those teachings? Vairagya Vidya Nija Bhakti Yoga. Shri Krishna Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has appeared in this world to teach us Vairagya. What is that Vairagya? If you check the word-to-word translation of that shloka, usually the understanding of Vairagya is to become detached. And Jiva Goswami, in the Tattva Sandarbha, he mentions somebody who is on the path of Jnana. Jnana means philosophical speculation, trying to read multiple books, trying to outsmart people in debates. Jiva Goswami mentions somebody who is on the path of Jnana can become hard-hearted. Similarly, second thing which Srila Jiva Goswami mentions in Tattva Sandarbha is somebody who is practicing tapasya, means not eating certain foods and this and that, and if that becomes the primary focus of his life, then even that can cause this person to become hard-hearted. So he says, overemphasis on jnana and overemphasis on tapasya can actually make somebody hard-hearted, in the sense both of them are doing jnana and tapasya for the reason that they want to outdo others. They want to prove their superiority. And as soon as we want to prove our superiority over others, we cannot be soft-hearted. Soft-heartedness is basically coming from compassion, is it not? So, then what is the Vairagya Vidya that Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu has come to teach us? So if you read the word-to-word translation, it is mentioned by Srila Prabhupada. Vairagya Vidya means detachment from anything that does not foster Krishna consciousness. Detachment from anything that is not favorable for prospering our Krishna consciousness. In other words, as Srila Rupa Goswami mentions, 6 factors for Sharanagati. He says, Anukulyasya Sankalpaha and Pratikulyasya Varjanam. So His Holiness Radhanath Maharaj, many times he speaks this line, we are all attracted to tapasya. And Rishabdev in the 5th canto says, tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhed yasmat brahma saukyam tu anantam. So I think this is 5.5.1. I think this is 5th canto, 5th chapter, shloka number 1, in which he starts his teachings and he says, tapo divyam putraka yena sattvam shuddhed. What tapasya we have to do? We don't have to do any tapasya. But Rishabdev says we have to do that tapasya that purifies our existence. And then he says that purification will give us Brahma Saukhyam to Anantam. It will link us to the spiritual happiness, which is Anantam, which is unlimited. In the 17th chapter of the Gita, somewhere in one shloka, maybe the 5th shloka or the 6th shloka, it is mentioned that when somebody does tapasya that is not mentioned in the scriptures, it is whimsical tapasya, then such tapasya actually torments the material elements of the body, and it also tortures the Supreme Personality of Godhead who is sitting in the body. Mam chaivantara antahastham. So Krishna is the Supreme Lord, and Krishna is saying when somebody does whimsical tapasya, it actually troubles the super soul in the heart. It definitely troubles the body. So what kind of tapasya are we supposed to do? We are supposed to do tapasya that is mentioned in the scriptures, like doing fasting on Ekadashi, like doing fasting on Janmashtami, Radhashtami, and so on. So Hari Vasara, that kind of tapasya we are supposed to do, but we are not supposed to do whimsical tapasya. So similarly, Radharani Maharaj was saying, the essence of all tapasya is to continuously choose what is favorable for our cultivation of Krishna consciousness and to continuously avoid or reject that which is unfavorable for fostering our Krishna consciousness. So Anukulyasa Sankalpaha and Pratikulyasa Varjanam is the essence of all tapasya. Somebody has written me one message which I will reply later. So if the essence of all tapasya is actually Anukulyasa Sankalpa and Pratikulyasa Varjanam, then what kind of Vairagya Vidya has Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu come to this world to teach us? It is definitely only that Vairagya from things which are not favorable for propagation or increasing our Krishna consciousness. So, if we read the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, then the Vairagya or detachment from the false understanding that I am this body and my enjoyment will come from the enjoyment of body and the senses will definitely be defeated. So we have to go deeper into the teachings of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, and Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's teachings have come to us through Srila Rupa Goswami and through the biggest Rupanug, the most prominent Rupanug, that is His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. So sometimes some devotees, they feel that Srila Prabhupada's books tend to be repetitive. And they say, sometimes in Prabhupada books, the same thing is repeated again and again. And I was thinking that why does Srila Prabhupada tend, it appears that Srila Prabhupada is being repetitive. You know why? Because the primary understanding, which is very important for all of us to develop a deeper connection with Krishna, is I am not this body, and this body is the source of misery. And as long as I'm attached to this body, I can never be really happy. These are the primary building blocks of Vaishnava philosophy, and that's why Srila Prabhupada, actually out of great care and concern for us, keeps repeating it in his purports that we are not the body, and any enjoyment on the level of the body will never bring us permanent enjoyment. But sometimes some devotees feel that that is repetitive. Yes, it is repetitive. Why? Because it is very important. Some fundamental truths have to be repeated. So this is, which I feel is very important for all of us to understand. In one of the shlokas in Kunti Devi's teachings, Kunti Devi says, Atha Vishvesha Vishwatman Vishwamurte Swakeshu Me Sneha Pasham Imam Chindi Dridam Pandu Shugrishnishu. So Kunti Devi is praying to Lord Krishna, and Kunti Devi is in a very interesting situation. Her mother's side, her maternal side, are her very good Vaishnavas, which are the Vrishnis. She is the sister of Vasudeva. So in that sense, she is belonging to that family. And on the marriage side, her husband has given us 5 sons. And all these five sons, the five Pandavas, are exceptional devotees of Lord Krishna. So now it is the last part of her life when she's offering these prayers, and she is thinking, on my mother's side, on my maternal side, they are exceptional Vaishnavas. And on my marriage side, I have my five sons who are exceptional Vaishnavas. But if I want to go back home, back to Godhead, my attachment to my maternal side and my attachment to my five sons, will it help me? Now, we always feel that attachment to non-devotees is definitely not good, but attachment to devotees is definitely good. And we hear so many shlokas in the Bhagavatam that tad api sadhushu kruto moksha dwaram apavritam, that if we do attachment, tat api sadhushu kruto, if we do it to a Vaishnava, to a great saintly person, then moksha dwaram apavritam, then the doors of liberation are opened. That is also there in the third canto. So then why is Kunti Devi speaking this prayer? In this prayer, she is saying, oh my dear Lord Krishna, please cut off my attachment to the Pandavas and please cut off my attachment to the Vrishnis. Sneha pasham imam chindi dridham pandushu vrishnishu. Oh, Kunti Devi is so fortunate that she is surrounded by Vaishnavas on her mother's side and on her marriage side. Why does she pray to Krishna to Sneha Pasham Imam Chindi, cut off those ties? So it's a very, very, very beautiful understanding. Actually, she loves Pandavas, and her love for the Pandavas has two components. One component of her love for the Pandavas is because they are her sons. They are born from her womb. And all mothers love their children because they are born from their wombs. They have taken care of that embryo for 9 months. So there's a lot of attachment there. And the second part of her attachment for the Pandavas is because they are devotees of Lord Krishna. Similarly, for the Vrishnis, whatever love Kunti Devi has, it also has two components. One component is because they are her maternal side. They are father, mother, brother, and so on. That blood relationship is there. And another component of her love for the Vrishnis is definitely because they are great devotees of Lord Krishna. So Kunti Devi is very, very intelligent, and she is requesting Lord Krishna to cut off that component of her love for the Pandavas and the Vrishnis, which is based on the blood relationship. She is not asking for cutting off that component of her love, which is based on the fact that the Pandavas are great devotees of Lord Krishna and the Vrishnis are great devotees of Lord Krishna. She says, no, keep that component intact. But based on blood relationship, whatever affection, sneha that I have for the Pandavas and for the Vrishnis, that you cut off. How important it is and how subtle it is. And Kunti Devi is giving us such a very fine point that even if we love some Vaishnava, but the love and affection for that Vaishnava, the attachment for that Vaishnava, if it has a bodily component, if it has a blood relationship component, then even that can be an impediment. So in fact, our affection and our attachment for the Vaishnava should be just based on one fact, that they are very sincere and nice devotees of Lord Krishna. And this affection and this attachment will definitely take us back home, back to Godhead. And we have to be really careful that we don't get attached to the body and we don't get attached to the relationships of the body. So another thing which I feel is that, Kunti Devi is also teaching us a fine balance between our own attachments to different people in our own life. So if our attachment is based on our thoughts that, no, I have a relationship with this person of this world, then definitely we need to give it up. And if we feel that our attachment to this person is based on our relationship with the spiritual master or our relationship with the Krishna, Krishna says, Pitaha Matsya Jagato Mata Dhata Pitamaha. If Krishna is saying, I am the father, I am the mother, I am the grandfather, and all these living entities belong to me, then depending on that relationship, then there is no problem. One devotee gave a very nice example. He said, a USB drive, if you want to transfer data from one USB drive to another USB drive, You have to go using a laptop or a computer. You cannot connect two USB drives independently of the computer and they cannot transfer data. Similarly, he said, all the living entities, they want to exchange love with each other. And that is the whole concept of universal brotherhood. But that universal brotherhood many times does not work if the fatherhood of the father is not recognized. So if all the USB drives are plugged into a computer, then all the USB drives can interact very nicely with each other. Otherwise, the USB drives cannot interact with each other. So we need to be careful with that. One of the things that was also mentioned in the current shloka for discussion, 7th canto, 1st chapter in shloka number 10, is also how the Sattva gun, the Rajo gun and the Tamo gun are very active, and actually Lord Krishna creates as per the situation and as per the characteristics and as per the activities of that living entity. So we'll quickly go through some points related to that. And I was thinking, in Vrindavan, can we think of three personalities? One who is an example of somebody who was affected by Tamogun, one who was affected by Rajogun, and one who was affected by Sattvagun. And I could come up with three examples. One example that comes to my mind is that of Aghasur. Aghasur came in a snake species. So snakes are basically very envious and definitely in the mode of ignorance, and they are causelessly envious. You don't have to hurt them for them to hurt you. Even if you're standing silently, a snake and a scorpion, they are causelessly envious. They will come and bite you. So Agha, what happened to Agha? Agha got killed by Lord Krishna, but Krishna, one of the names of Krishna is Hatari Gati Dayaka. In the NOD it is mentioned. He is somebody who gives benefit or liberation even to those who he kills. Hata Ari. Enemies who are killed by Krishna, Gati Dayaka, they get Gati, they get go to Vaikuntha. But if we keep that final effect aside, then finally somebody who was in Tamogun got killed by Lord Krishna. What about the Rajaka, the washerman who Krishna met in Mathura? I see him as an example of Rajogun. Why? Because he was somebody, who had some facilities with him. And Krishna mentioned, oh, you are carrying some very beautiful clothes. Can I take some of those clothes? And what did he do? He kind of threatened Krishna. He's saying, you villager, these clothes belong to the king. They belong to the royal family. And you dare to put your eyes on the clothes of the royal family? Actually, if you go to the past of Lord Krishna, a few years before this incident is happening, Lord Krishna was in one sense born from the womb of Devaki, and Devaki and Kamsa are brother and sister. So does Krishna belong to the royal family of Mathura? Yes. He is the nephew of Kamsa. Kamsa is the king of Mathura, and it is his clothes that the Rajaka, the washerman, is carrying. And he is threatening that you villager, you don't belong to the royal family, and you put your eyes on the royal family's clothes and opulences. If I tell this to the guards, then those guards will come and kill you. He threatens. So I was thinking, actually the Rajaka does not know who Krishna is. Even on a very simple level, Krishna belonged to the same royal family. He belonged to Kamsa's family. That's for sure. And definitely he was the supreme personality of Godhead, which he did not recognize. And what was Krishna asking? Actually, the Maha clothes of Krishna should be worn by us. Uddhava does that. Uddhava wears the Maha clothes, the Maha garlands, the Maha ornaments of Lord Krishna, and he finds great happiness in that. Actually, Krishna is so broad-minded that he was ready to wear the Maha clothes of Kamsa just because they were looking good. And he wanted to share those nice clothes with his friends who had come from Vrindavan to Mathura. So he wanted to serve his friends also. But not knowing these two facts of who Krishna is, the Rajaka threatens Krishna and says, I can call the guards and have you killed. And then what did he get from Krishna? He also got killed by Krishna. And is it somebody in Vrindavan Leela or Mathura Leela who were in Sattvagun? Yes, the Brahmanas who were staying on the outskirts of Vrindavan. and they were performing huge sacrifices, which is mentioned in the 10th canto of the Srimad Bhagavatam. And Krishna and Balaram are little hungry and they tell their friends, can you go and ask the Brahmanas who are doing there? And they are so immersed in their Sattva Gun and they are so knowledgeable in the Vedas and they are doing their sacrifices. And what is the result of the request that comes from Krishna's friend? They completely neglect that request. So the verse there, it mentions, just like we mentioned, Pashyan apina pashyati. Second canto, first chapter, Shukdev Goswami mentions the attached materialist sees so many things happening, but he does not see. His eyes are incapable of seeing. Similarly, it is mentioned that these Brahmanas, you know what they were doing? They were doing the yagyas. They heard actually the pleas of the friends of Krishna that can we get some food for Krishna and Balaram? They are nearby. But the shloka mentions, Shrunvan api na shrunvan. They heard, but they did not hear. Basically, they purposefully neglected the request of the friends of Krishna for food. So it's very interesting. The Tamoguni person got killed by Krishna. The Rajoguni person who threatened Krishna also got killed by Krishna. And the Sattva-guni person who neglected Krishna and Krishna's request did not get killed. But in one sense, they never got pure devotional service. Because afterwards, we understand how the request was then sent to the wives of the Brahmanas, and the wives of the Brahmanas left their home and carried all that food items for Krishna personally. They offered those food items to Krishna, and Krishna told them to return home. Then they told Krishna, if we return home, what is our situation? What is our status? Because our husbands might get angry on us, our husbands might not accept us, and they might say, we rejected Krishna's pleas, and how come you honored them? So we won't accept you back. That time Krishna says, you don't worry about that, they will accept. And they go back and they are accepted by the husbands. But what do the husbands say? The husbands say, Dik kulam, dik janma. They say, to hell with our high birth, to hell with our high knowledge, to hell with our high, doing all these big yagyas. You know why? Because one very beautiful line comes in that shloka. It says, Vimukha yetu adhokshaje. Dik janma, dik kula, dik vrata. Why? Because Vimukha yetu adhokshaje. We are not unmukh to adhokshaj. We are not favorable to Krishna. We are unfavorable to Krishna. So all our knowledge and all our tapa, vrata, dana and everything that we did as Brahmana situated in Sattva Gun, what is the use of all that? Finally, it made us unfavorable to Krishna. So in that sense, I'm saying they never got the advantage of pure devotional service that even today is available to Kali Yuga souls, although we are not living in Vrindavan. And these Brahmanas were living on the border of Vrindavan, almost in Vrindavan, at a time when Krishna was personally present. Prema. The Supreme Lord is Leela Purushottam, Krishna, and he was personally enacting different Leelas, and he has come here to the material world to attract lost souls. He is personally present in Vrindavan, and his Brahmanas are present at that time in Vrindavan. But because they were too absorbed in their Sattva Gun, they did not honor Krishna, and in one sense, they lost their opportunity to please Krishna and go back home, back to Godhead. Now, all these three personalities, Tamoguna, Rajoguna, and Sattva-guna, did they get an opportunity to please Krishna? Does Krishna boycott somebody who is in Tamoguna? Does Krishna not give an opportunity to somebody who is in Tamo, Rajo, and Sattva? And he gives opportunities for progress in devotional service only to somebody who is a devotee? Did Aghasur get an opportunity to please Krishna? Yes. Actually, the friends of Krishna, when they looked at this huge mouth of Aghasur going right into the sky, then they said, oh, this is really amazing. And the tongue of Aghasur which had come out looked like a highway. And all these friends of Krishna thought, oh, this looks like a playground for us. And they very happily dancing and chanting and singing songs, jumping. They just, in a very happy way, they entered Aghasur's mouth. Actually, Aghasur came there with very bad intentions. But seeing the happiness of all these cowherd friends of Krishna, he had a chance to please Krishna by pleasing his devotees. And anybody who pleases Krishna's devotees, Krishna immediately can pardon all that person's sins and actually take care of him in a very nice way. But Aghasur purposefully neglected that opportunity to please Krishna and to please Krishna's devotees. And in fact, he tried to harm Krishna's devotees, and that's why he got killed. What about the Rajaka? The washerman, did the washerman have an opportunity to please Krishna? Yes. The washerman could have given one or two very nice opulent clothes of the king to Krishna, and in this way he could have pleased Krishna. And nobody would have known. What does the king know? The king has a huge wardrobe of so many clothes, and out of that, if one or two clothes are given to Krishna by the Rajaka, it would definitely not have been a very big calamity for the Rajaka. But the washerman, instead of seizing upon that opportunity to please Krishna, what did he do? Unfortunately, he threatened and then he got killed. And these Brahmanas, actually, they understand that Yajna means Krishna. That is mentioned in the Vedas, that is mentioned in the Upanishads, and they are practicing the Vedas. So they know that the real goal of life is not just to keep chanting mantras. The real goal of life is not just to keep offering oblations into the Yajna. The real goal of life is to please Krishna. That is the goal of everything. But they forgot all that in the ritualism. And in that ritualism, they ended up displeasing Krishna. And in one sense, they gave up that opportunity of pleasing Krishna. So it's very interesting. Whether you are in the Tamogun, whether you are in the Rajogun, or whether you are in the Sattvagun, if you are not really capitalizing on the opportunity that comes to you to please Krishna, you might end up displeasing Krishna, and you might end up even getting killed, or you might even end up missing out on the chance to go back to Godhead. Another fact that applies to Tamo, Rajo, and Sattva is everyone got a chance to please Krishna. So Krishna is so broad-minded, Krishna is so gentle, Krishna is so kind-hearted. He gave an opportunity to all three to please him. He is not differentiating between Tamo, Rajo, and Sattva, but it is them who differentiated between pleasing Krishna and displeasing Krishna. Both Agha and Kaliya are snakes, and both of them are poisonous, and both of them are naturally, as I mentioned, causelessly envious. So Kaliya also, he got such a nice opportunity. He could have come to Yamuna river, and just by staying in the Yamuna river, he could have gotten the darshan of Krishna. But what did he do? Causelessly, he released poison from his body into the lake in that Yamuna river, and he poisoned it. And in one sense, he ended up harming Krishna's friends and Krishna's cows. And because of that, Krishna got angry on him. And what happened finally? Krishna kicked him on his head and took out all the poison from him. But just see, even after taking out all that poison from him, Krishna could have given him a place to stay in Vrindavan, is it not? So after Krishna has danced on the hoods of Kaliya, when all the poison has come out, he is clean. But why did Krishna ask him to leave? Actually, Krishna wanted to kill him right there because he had harmed Krishna's devotees. Krishna does not have any danger from anybody, but Krishna saw that Kaliya has harmed his devotees, and that's why he wanted to kill him. But between Aghasur and Kaliya, even though both are snakes in severe Tamogun, there is a difference. Kaliya's wives, the Nagapatnis, they were devotees of Krishna, and when Krishna was thumping on the hoods of Kaliya, the Nagapatnis came there, and the Nagapatnis offered prayers to Krishna, and they said, please forgive our husband. And Krishna, because he likes his devotees very much, he paid heed to the prayers of Kaliya's Patnis, Nagapatnis, and he at least allowed Kaliya to live. Aghasur had nobody to vouch for Aghasur. Aghasur did not have anybody who could pray to Krishna for Aghasur. So he got killed, but Kaliya had his wives who prayed for Kaliya, and he got saved. At least he did not die. But still, Krishna gave him the highest punishment. What is the highest punishment? The highest punishment is, you cannot take my darshan, you cannot even see me from a distance, you have to immediately leave Vrindavan, and you go at another place, you will stay alive, Garuda will not kill you, because my footprints are there on your head, but you cannot receive my darshan. Can you imagine what a curse it is? Any one of us, if we want to go to Vrindavan, and Krishna comes and tells us, you do what you want to do in whichever city you are staying in, but you can never enter Vrindavan You cannot take darshan of Prabhupada Samadhi. You cannot take darshan of Krishna Balram. You cannot take darshan of Madan Mohan temple. You cannot take darshan of Radha Raman. You cannot take darshan of Govindji. You cannot take darshan of Yamuna river. You cannot take darshan of Govardhan hill. Can you imagine what a curse that is? Even if we are staying outside India, at least we know once in a year, once in 2 years, once in 3 years, we will get access to the holy land of Vrindavan, which is not different from Golok Vrindavan. At least with his material eyes, his flesh eyes, for some time we get a chance to take darshan of Yamuna river, to take darshan of Govardhan. But Kaliya received the greatest curse from Krishna. You will not be able to take my darshan. That is worse than death. Because if death comes, you quickly die, and then you can take your rebirth, and then again try to enter Vrindavan. But Kaliya is still alive with the curse intact that you cannot come to Vrindavan and you cannot. So anybody who received an opportunity to serve Krishna, Kaliya received, Agha received, Rajaka received, and even the Brahmanas received, but they did not capitalize on it. 2 got killed, 1 got completely bereft of the chance to please Krishna, and Kaliya was cursed to leave Vrindavan. Why? Because they did not capitalize on the opportunity to please Krishna and to please Krishna's devotees. So one thing which I would like to learn as a lesson for myself is, whether I am in Tamogun, whether I am in Rajogun, or whether I am in Sattvagun, opportunities will always be given to me to please Krishna and Krishna's devotees. Instead of rejecting those opportunities, I have to be very careful. And Vairagya Vidya, I have to learn. I should not have attachment to things which are temporary and taking me away from Krishna. Actually, I should increase my attachment to Krishna's devotees. Why? Because Krishna's devotees will help me capitalize on the opportunities to serve Krishna and to please Krishna that will come in my life. And that will be the greatest goal. I just remembered Jatayu and Sampati, they are birds in Tamogun, they are vultures, and they feed on dead carcasses. But if you see, Lord Ramchandra engaged both Jatayu and Sampati also in service. Jatayu was the first person who gave a clear indication of where to search Sita. Because when Ram and Lakshman came there searching for Sita, they had no clue. And they just saw Jatayu in a pool of blood. And then Ram got so much agitated. Ram felt this is some demon who has killed Sita. And that's why there is so much blood around. But then Jatayu said, no, I'm Jatayu. And Ravan came and Ravan took Sita in the southern direction. And that's why Ram and Lakshman started in the southern direction. This is the first hint, the first step in the most important seva for Lord Ram, that is discovering Mother Sita, was done by Jatayu, who is a vulture. And the last confirmation that came to find out Mother Sita, who was in Lanka, also came from a vulture, that is Sampati, who was Jatayu's brother. Because when the monkeys, they reached the shore of the Indian Ocean in the south side, and the west party, the search party from the west, the east and the north had already returned empty-handed. So there was hope only from the south party. And the south party also reached the shore, and they had not come across Sita, and they were just discussing the story, and they were discussing, why did we come here and we have not found Sita? And that time Sampati heard the name of Jatayu, and Sampati said, did you mention Jatayu? Yes. So who killed Jatayu? Oh, Ravan killed Jatayu. Oh, let me help you. And he said, although I am old, I cannot fly because my wings are burned, but at least my vision is very good. Vulture's vision is very good. And they took Sampati on a hill, and Sampati from a distance looked in Lanka and he saw Sita, and he said, yes, it is confirmed that Ravan is here in this direction and Sita is here. So the first major sign was given by a bird in Tamogun, vulture. And the last major confirmation about Sita's location was given by Sampati, who is also a vulture in Tamogun. So Lord Ramchandra also employed vultures in Tamogun, Vanaras in Rajogun, and Vibhishan in Sattvagun, and gave all of them an opportunity to please Krishna. The personalities in Krishna Lila which we discussed, they did not capitalize on that opportunity and they lost everything. And the vultures, the Vanaras, and Vibhishan, who is a demon, but he was born in a Sattvagun, he capitalized on that opportunity and served Ram. And all of them received the blessings of Lord Ram, the pleasure of Lord Ram. and their pastimes we are discussing even today. So thank you very much. I'm really grateful to all of you for your attention. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji. Thank you so much for such a beautiful class. Very grateful to you for speaking on so many different topics. Especially, I really like how we should cut off the material thing, and you're given this Kunti Maharani example. That is very nice. As a mother, she was having affection for the son. At the same time, they are the devotees, so she's asking to cut off the affection that she has on the child as a children. So that is really striking point, because we are also having a children, which is like devotee children, means they are growing fully in Krishna consciousness, chanting and everything. So how our mood should be there when we are praying. Thank you so much, Prabhuji, for many different points. Very grateful to you. Hare Krishna, dear devotees. If anybody having any questions, realizations, please go ahead.
Mataji, you know what? I have something at 6 o'clock. I just have 4 minutes in between. Is it okay?
Sorry, Prabhuji. That's okay. Completely fine, Prabhuji. I did not ask that if you have time. Okay.
I'm really sorry. Next time I'll make myself available for more questions. Definitely. It's just that today it's not possible, but next time I'll make myself available definitely.
Okay. Shama Gauri Mataji, you raised your hand. You want to say thank you to Prabhuji?
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, Dandavat Pranam, Krishna Srila Prabhupada. Sorry, my computer is making so much noise. Thank you so much, Prabhuji. Very, very wonderful class. I had question like, the Kaliya is not able to go to Vrindavan. So same way, many devotees, they are not able to go to Vrindavan because of their health condition. So what is the, thing like, if they lament so much, will Krishna fulfill their desire, Prabhuji?
Definitely need to pray, Mataji. We need to pray intensely to Radha Shamsundar, and we definitely need to pray to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, whose primary desire was to share Vrindavan with the whole world. It is Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's desire that, Vraj Bhakti should be distributed all over the world. So we should sincerely pray to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu that we have a desire to visit Vrindavan. Please allow us, in whatever situation we are, but please allow us entrance into Vrindavan, not just physically, but at a consciousness level. Definitely Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu will definitely help us. So thank you so much, Mataji. I need to leave. I'm really sorry.
Prabhuji, thank you so much. I would like
Thank
to
you, Prabhuji.
and all the Vaishnavas assembled on the call. Vancha kalpatarubhyasya kripa sindhubhyeva
कृपा सिंधुभ्येव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः।
की जय। श्री प्रभुपाद की जय।
जय।
नंद दुलाल प्रभु जी की जय।
राधे राधे।
राधे राधे।
Thank you, dear
राधे
devotees.
राधे।
As we close the
Bless you all. Hare Krishna, Hari Bol.
हरे बोल।